Aloha, everyone. This is Carlotta J with Lovelight Speaks series, where I highlight those that have found it in their hearts to be in service to the collective in one way or another, that just illuminates and empowers others, way showers, love light workers, just those who are contributing their life force energy for the betterment of the greater good. And today we have a beautiful soul, Beth Keough. And Beth has spent the last 17 years in her practice as a one-on-one coach, a shaman, a global retreat facilitator, as a master aromatherapist and certified hypno doula. Beth supports individuals on a journey being the greatest version of themselves, assisting each in creating their life, the dreams that they are, the life that they dream, and a path through joy. Since a young child, Beth has been blessed with the experience of being connected very deeply with the whales and the dolphins. And she empowers others by bringing in the key codes for this beautiful frequency that they have gifted her. She shares their simplest yet profound ways of discovering inner balance, empowerment, self-love, and a joy-filled life. I am so excited to share this sister with you, and I am really, really, really blessed and really excited to see what she has to bring forth. So when she is ready, we'll enter in, and thank you so much for joining us today. I know everyone is going to be uplifted and really, really given some incredible insights to what's happening in the world, and how we can empower ourselves to be our biggest and brightest versions. Yay, we have Sister Beth joining us, and I am just giddy to so much that we spoke recently about that has just ignited beautifully in me and has reminded me of so much what we have to gift the world. And I am extremely, extremely curious to see what unfolds as we share today.
Aw, thank you so much. This is so wonderful to be here. And I agree. I mean, just getting on that wave and be able to just ride it in and see where it takes us. So amazing. Thank you, Carlotta.
Yeah, absolutely. Where would you like to begin? With this, because just tuning in with you recently, there was so much that just presented. Is there anything in your heart that really today is speaking, that's coming forth through to you?
It's what I've been feeling is a lot of the 1111 codes, which is of divine union. And people, when they hear divine union, a lot of people think, well, they're speaking of the couples, the beloveds, all of that. And it is, right? And yet, the 1111, what it's shown me through literally my whole life, like since I was a little girl, I'd wake up at 11:11. It was like sixth grade, I think it started happening, and I had a little electric alarm clock, and I'd look over and it would wake me up every night. Not a little alarm, but I would wake up from my sleep and look over at the clock, and it would be 11:11. And this went on for years. And so the 1111, what it's shown me through the years is that it is the codes of the 1111 through divine union. And divine union, the true beloved, is it's the Trinity. So we've got our feminine aspect on our left side, our right sides are masculine, and then the divine alignment, our inner being, our higher self, source, whatever words we want to use.
Yeah.
And so that Trinity is a true alignment with the truth of who we really are. And that's the true beloved. That's divine union. And in that, as we find that space and place of balance and alignment, then we are literally in this beautiful receptive mode that allows us to receive everything that our hearts have dreamt of, what our desires have been on an individual and a collective basis, what we've been wanting to see. And so it's so beautiful because the keys to this 1111 divine union frequency and codes are literally to remind us that firstly, we are in those times of alignment and being called back to the truth of who we really are, right? And so it's really tied to the white buffalo calf woman. And we talked about this the other day, the codes of the white, the prophecy that white buffalo calf woman brought forth when she came to the Lakota Sioux. And she gave them the gift of the pipe, the sacred pipe, which is really the feminine is the bowl. The masculine aspect of the pipe is the stem. And what she showed the people is that to pray and to really come again, it's the divine union codes. It's coming into alignment. So we join the bowl and the pipe, the stem together, which is divine union. And when they come together, that's the balance point. That's what I call the immaculate. It's the everything and nothing point. It's a point of creation. And these are the codes that the beautiful cetacean beings, the whales, have shown me very intimately about the codes of creation. So all of these things I'm bringing up all weave together, and they're really supporting us in remembering the alignment and the truth of who we really are. And when we come into that state and place of balance with our truth, when we come into our hearts, when we come into that space of love and joy and inspiration and creation, then we truly are the creators. We are, because we now have aligned to the truth of who we are with our inner being. And then everything that we dreamt of, Carlotta, can come into form. And this is really the teachings that I share. It's about coming into balance within ourselves, first and foremost. A lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of people say, God, I just want to change the world. I came here to fix or change the world. And I want to make a difference. And that's gorgeous. That's beautiful. Yet, and we can ourselves, then what happens is we come into that alignment, and then we're able to be whatever is needed, kind of, you know what I mean, out, bring that forth out to others. And so we can't be sick enough to help a sick person. We can't be poor enough with poverty consciousness. But when we're in alignment and when we're in that place of balance, then we can. We're in that place of creation. So those are some of the things that I, felt to touch in on and share. And they are the codes of the white. They're the codes of alchemizing ourselves into that state of alignment and balance, and into joy and into our hearts. And that is truly a key.
Girl, woo! You are speaking my language.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We are truly sisters.
It's
No doubt.
astounding. It's astounding. Like you've just You just reiterated everything that I know is true, everything that's in my heart, and everything that I've been shown, and some things that I haven't, that are just absolutely divinely, uniquely to you, which is spectacular. And I do want to dive more into that, those very unique aspects of you. But I feel you, and I do understand that we are in this sweet spot of taking the initiative to create that inner balance and
Yeah.
to rise within. And I love that, we were sharing with the right and the left side of the feminine and masculine, and the heart is right in the center of that. And as you say, as you teach, it has to come through the heart. It has to come through the joy. People
Yes.
have been conditioned to pursue this 3D existence that does not ultimately fulfill them, right? So they lose their joy. I mean, children are naturally joyful, naturally energetic, naturally vibrant, and it's because they don't have the responsibilities or the they haven't really got to that projected upon state where they start to feel the external really imbue upon them, right? And if we can just allow ourselves to be in that pure state, we are, like you said, one. We're in that 0 point. We're in that totally receptive state that is required, that divine neutrality. It's required to be able to be light, really, right? And you have some incredible personal experiences with the 1111 codes and the white buffalo woman. And I mean, that just blew my mind. And what a gift it is to, at such a young age, be kind of guided and shown and reminded and given a pattern, so to speak, given that code. And I share something not as consistent to that. I mean, that, like, when you wake up at 111 over and over again, like, that's just like, bang, bang, bang,
Yeah, it was actually 1111 because it's representing the
1111.
union.
My,
Yeah.
my
No,
apologies.
no worries at all. 111 is
Yeah.
amazing too.
I was thinking
Right.
Trinity, just three, but no, I got you. But yeah,
Yeah.
those it's interesting, and I think it's important for people to, why I bring that up is that it's important for us to reflect back and to recall synchronicities in our lives, right? To recall things that we were shown that we may not have tapped into quite, or really understood what they were when we were young. But I feel like, for those who are definitely meant to be, activated in some point in this lifetime to this calling of way showing and bringing the collective higher, that there's something that we were given. How that to for them to be curious about what that represents.
Yes. Oh gosh. Wow. I mean, everything that you just said completely and totally resonates. And, it's like what we are walking collectively right now, as we look at these codes we're talking about, the codes of the white, the 1111 codes, we're in what is the fulfillment of the white buffalo calf woman prophecy right now. We're in it. And, if I could, I'd love to share, just as a dovetail to what you were saying, but actually being able to just share a piece so that we're all kind of like on the same boat, so to speak, as we're looking at these codes. So when we look at the white buffalo calf woman and her gifting of the sacred pipe, and she left when she was actually departing the Lakota Sioux tribes, She actually was standing there before them when she was departing, and she rolled in the grass and she turned into a yellow buffalo, like, like a cream color, let's say, or yellowish. And then she rolled again, and then she turned into a red buffalo and then she rolled again, turned into a brown, and then a black. And finally she rolled and she turned into the white buffalo. And she said, pay attention to the times of when the white buffalo actually begins to be born on this planet. This will be the initiation, the beginning of the prophecy that I speak of, where collective will actually move into a time of forgetfulness and will actually stray from the heart and actually go more into the mind, and will be really led by the mind instead of the heart, and will actually experience a disconnect with nature and with the truth of who we are, and so on. And as we look, and we can look at our recent history, we see where this has been occurring in the whole. And so what White Buffalo Calf Woman's message is that why did she roll and turn into all these different colors? Because she was representing or showing the symbolism of the rainbow. All the colors of the rainbow can be a symbolism of the collective and all of our different, beliefs and skin colors and religions, all of it. So that's a representation of the rainbow tribes across the planet. And what she was saying is, when the white buffalo comes, this is the initiation point where the alchemization, the transformation, the expansion, and the awakening of all of humanity will begin occurring, and will begin to come into the white. Now, when we take a palette like a rainbow and we mix those colors up, they turn white. This is what you were speaking of about oneness and the 0 point. I call it the immaculate, because it is nothing and everything at once. It's the codes of the creation that the whales are imparting. They're very much imparting these codes to us. But it's the white rainbow that actually where we're moving into symbolically, because we're one. And how do we come to that place of oneness with all of life and our brothers and sisters? It starts with ourselves every time. We must bring it back in and love ourselves. We must love ourselves first. And then, like we were talking about, then we can express what unique signature we came in with, and what it is that our passion, our hearts are here to share. Every single being on this planet has that. Everyone. It's whether we align to it or not. And there's no right, wrong, good, or bad in it. We're all walking our own path. And the part of the duality here is what I call the black and the white, which is the yin yang and 3D reality, all of that. But when we can actually bring the black and the white again, even into that union point, we're experiencing balance. So it's just so beautiful. And I don't know if we have the time, but and I want to, I love our reflection back and forth. So I want to, be quiet for a moment and open it up for you to
respond. Girl, we got time. We got time. Oh yeah. And again, I mean, we just speak the same language. So, it's really lovely to commune with you. I hear you that it requires the free will to be activated within each of us to honor our hearts, to honor ourselves in a way that is what I call impeccable self-love. Right? Like when we practice and implement impeccable self-love, we prime ourselves. And it's almost like, it's kind of funny. I use the example. It's like when you're on the airplane and they say, if those oxygen masks drop, put it on yourself first so that you have what you need to assist others. And it's the same thing to me. It's like you said, we have to, each and every one of us, ignite from within and then create a inner harmony, the coherence between the heart and mind, rather than the struggle between the heart and mind. We have to have that balance. I feel you. And then with that, we are naturally led to all of the gifts and are able to celebrate one another rather than to compete with one another. I mean, that's
Exactly.
unnatural, right? Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's all in plain sight, right? Like the whole illusion of separateness is so that we can realize that the individual needs self-care and honoring what this, inner navigation system, which is our heart, our soul connection, our source truth,
Mhm.
that once we get on board with that, life, you start to see the synchronicities, you get the ease and grace, the flow, that represents the right direction, the correct alignment for you, right? And then we can all
Mhm.
feel like these little puzzle pieces that actually fit, and we're like,
Yes.
oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay. And that
Mhm.
that understanding of the way we can support and empower one another just by being who we are, rather than, you said, fixing, I want to fix out there. It's like, no, fix
Mm-mm.
here first. Like, that's all we have to do. That's our only job, is to fix, to calibrate ourselves, to remember ourselves, to step fully
Ah.
into ourselves, right? To bring that authentic expression, refine it, polish it, celebrate it, explore it, rock your walk, so to speak. Right. And then it's a party, right? Then it's a party. But yes, I want you to share, because I know there's juicy juice in there.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I just was like laughing because you were talking about when the oxygen masks fall down. I use that analogy all the time because it's perfect analogy, right? Because we must before we can help another, right? Or whatever that looks like. So beautiful. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I love how you said we recalibrate ourselves in to that place of alignment through our hearts, because it really is. I think the key, working with the law of attraction, because this is one of the very main laws of the universe, and it is obviously the way that this whole entire space-time reality is working. So when we can actually deliberately work with the law of attraction and understand the way that we can actually align ourselves so that it can actually help us to come into that balanced place and to be able to create literally the life of our dreams. And when we are in that alignment place, then it ripples out to the whole. So it's affecting everything and everyone when we're in that place and steadily in that place. And I call it um, basically the sweet spot, because when we can, rather than focusing on the things that don't work, the things that are triggering us, the things that, maybe are from traumas of the past, when we turn our heads and we look at that and we focus our attention there, where we bring our attention, energy flows and then it grows. So we have to just this is part of working deliberately with the law of attraction. This is the law of attraction at work. When we focus on anything, whether it's something we are upset by, or if it's on the other spectrum, something that we want to create, something we want to experience, something that we've held in our hearts as, a vision, desire, then it's the same principles. When we focus here in something that we really want to create, we are empowered then to gain momentum as we focus here. It's going to create more and more of that. And it's going to attract in more people, more support, more synchronicities, more what we might call magic and alignment. And before you know it, like we're living what some people might refer to as a magical life. And how is that possible? How can we actually maintain that? And how can we really be able to be in that place much or most of the time? And really, it comes down to some simple keys. It's about really taking our focus off of the things that aren't working, the things that we haven't been able to resolve, old grooves. We get into these old habits and ways of thinking and all of that. So in order to actually switch the focus so we can begin creating in the way that we want to be, we actually can just, simple things like meditating shortly after when you wake up. And just what I love to invite is that I got this from Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks. I'm sure we've all heard of the law of attraction. I absolutely adore that woman. And she actually says something that my husband and I do every single morning. She invites that we download an app on our phone, and it's called the White Noise app. And what it does, and my husband and I like the brown noise. So we click into the brown noise on that app, and we just close our eyes and we go into a 15-minute meditation. And the whole idea around this is to literally quiet the mind. Why do we want to quiet the mind? Because when we quiet the mind, we're actually our vibration immediately rises to align with the divine. And when we're aligned with the divine, we are literally able to receive messages, inspiration, amazing thoughts or ideas that come in during that meditation. And when our minds are busy in meditation, that's okay too. We just bring our attention back to that sound. It's this boring fan sound. And it's great that it's boring because we don't want to stimulate thoughts. We don't want to stimulate the mind. So it's about really allowing the mind to get bored with it and just be like, and then you get into this 0 point state. And then all of the beliefs, all of the fears, all of the worries, the stresses that might be going on in the head, they reside, they stop.
Girl.
And everything just
what you're describing is exactly what I share. And it's simply, in a nutshell, for me, I say when you quiet the mind, we know that we have energetic centers, and the two major ones, there's actually several, but the two major ones, three: gut, heart, and mind, right? Yes. As far as receiving and and I'm like, when you quiet, because we are an overstimulated, over mind-centered society at this point globally. When we quiet the mind, the heart, the heart is what we get into. It's like, it's that, like you said, when we shift our focus from the mental into a state of, and we allow that to just be still, when we go into that stillness, we immediately, automatically, and are already in our heart center. We're never out of our heart center. It's just a matter of how much we are focusing on our mind's, space rather than our heart. So it is a pre-existing state to be in our heart center. And we just have to, like you said, practice it, like get out of the mind, especially first thing in the morning, each day, where you can clear that, receive what you need to receive, and then perhaps set an intention. Right?
Yes, totally. Gosh, I mean, it's so wonderful how synergistic. I love that, just the flow and everything. It's so much fun to be here with you. So yes, when we're looking at when we actually go to sleep at night before bed, it's an exceptional idea. If you're inspired or any one of us are inspired, to actually just take one portion through the day that was a highlight for you, that felt good. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Maybe it wasn't such a great day, and the only thing you can kind of come up with is, wow, I love that feeling after I brushed my teeth. That felt really good.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, just find something. Maybe you had an amazing day, so it's easy to find something, but focus on that one thing and get into the feeling place of it as if it's happening right then. And then why are we doing that? Well, because when we go to sleep, everything resides. And then when we wake up, we actually are activating immediately whatever vibration we went to bed with. Same thought vibration, same attraction, vibration of attraction. So if we go to bed in a good feeling place, we're going to actually wake up in the same place. Now, another thing that we can do, because there is almost like a snapshot. When we open our eyes in the morning, that's the moment. Instead of, here's my phone, instead of me reaching over, which was my habit, I'd reach over and see what time it is. I'd look and see someone texted, whatever. And the invitation is, do not grab your phone.
Yeah.
Because you have a really special window right then. And that window it's like a reset point. And you can actually go right into a really gentle thought like, oh my God, I love this bed. I feel so cozy. I feel so nourished laying here. I'm not thinking about what I need to do today. I'm not thinking about the events of yesterday. None of that. I'm staying very neutral in my thoughts of just what's comforting me and what appreciation I can find. If we can stay in that state of appreciation and feeling good for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we've already established a vibrational countenance within our vibrational field that's going to continue to attract more and more of that to us. So we've got a great start to our day. And really, if we have any kind of goal, that would be it, to stay in that momentum that is allowing us to stay in our hearts, because that's our receptive state and that's our creative state. And then we live this is how, these simple things, how we can actually live a magical life. And when we fall off that surfboard riding the wave, maybe we're feeling great, but someone comes in and says something and we're like, oh, I just got a trigger. We can just literally, I call it BOB, get back on the board by implementing like just a simple refocusing of our attention on something that feels just a little better.
Love it.
Something that, even like a visualization, I have different things that are go-tos. When something comes up, I immediately and focus on like an image of the sun setting or my experience with the whales, different things like that. So I immediately feel relief from that. The key is, don't talk about the problem. Don't share it with others.
Don't perpetuate it.
Because when we talk about it, when we share it, we are literally growing it more and more.
Yeah. We're carrying it, we've absorbed it. Yeah. And
this is how we deliberately work with the law of attraction and how we create amazing lives. Truly.
I love it. I love it. I love the portal. It seems like you were describing, like when you go to bed at night, that choosing something that you enjoyed, something that was nurturing, something nourishing, something positive. It's almost like I had the image of like you creating a set point that establishes a type of portal, so that that when you exit and go into bliss, when you sleep, recharge the avatar, and when you come, you're coming back through that portal when you wake up. Yes. Right. And you take yourself out the minute that you grab and take your focus and put it into something else. I use the phrase, what you focus on expands, period.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, and so, if you're allowing yourself that moment in, on either end of this consciousness state of our avatar, of our 3D, when you set that intention, you are setting the bar. You're choosing with your free will that frequency, and embodying it, right?
Yeah.
And being the emanator of that, as you go in either direction, right? To sleep or to the awakening state. I love that. And it's funny because I have what I call my happy dance. First thing, first thing in the morning, you know how we all stretch? Just like when we wake up, our body just naturally, it's like our spirit coming into our body again. And we always kind of elongate while we're lying in bed, right? Like the first thing, we take a breath and we elongate. And that is my happy dance moment where I'm like, I'm in my bed and it's like, okay, head, toes, fingers, and, and nose, right? Like I wiggle my toes and then I'm, and I rotate my hands and, and I'm stretching and I just do this, like you said, this moment of just like, yay, I'm in my body. Okay, well, I guess that means I've got another day pass to go and enjoy this adventure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and that sets me into it, like, and I believe that life is a treasure hunt. I believe that every day is a yay. And I believe that we are on the adventures of a lifetime, that we're soul in a drop, right? In this being. And we've chosen to fractalize a portion of our being into this experience, for many, many reasons. And to be able to have that yay moment just for yourself, and to realize it's a gift. Like this consciousness experience is a gift that we're gifting ourselves, and to celebrate it. That's why I call it my happy dance. It's like, thank you, avatar, let's go.
Yes.
And then I lay there and similarly have a practice of gratitude. And also I get excited because I have a practice of gratitude for life itself and those that are in it, and what momentum that I already understand that I've created through the law of attraction, with people, places, and things and aspirations. And then I get excited because I know that what's on the plate for the day, like I love food is one of my love languages. So I'm all about like, ooh, and I get to make this today, and I get to see this person today, like you. And it just starts to amp up that, into like, I'm stepping in with such blissful anticipation for the day that I'm like, bring it on.
Yes.
And I'm a big component of knowing that joy is an inside job, and knowing that truly it is up to me, and that focus that you so beautifully speak about, that I have the power, as limitless source, to allow, to choose what I am affected by, what I interact with, what I participate with. And if anything external of me, right, is something that, I guess I become very mindful about not allowing anything on the external, what people think, say, or do, affect my center. It's like, I remind myself is that, we're all tornadoes, and I'm the calm in the middle of this collaboration, all these random events that source, I trust, is, co-creating. And it's like, I can be the calm in the center of this 3D experience at all times. That is my choice. That is my inner authority being completely anchored in and going, I don't know about you guys, but I'm eating happy pie today. Like, That's just it. That's what's on the menu. And my son would tell me, he's like, Mom, he goes, your positive, your optimism. He goes, you have an unyielding optimism, and sometimes it's really annoying. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that. And he goes, of course you are,
And right there, that is, when someone may not be in that place and space of the heart, that feels annoying to them. And it's okay. It's like, it's okay, because everybody's right where they're at, and each are doing the best they can right in that moment. But when we consciously choose to work with this, right, like you just so gorgeously described, and to actually celebrate what's coming in the day, and to find the subjects that bring you that smile and that joy in your heart, that is literally so profound. And people say, well, that's great, but you know what, I'm dealing with a lot of things that I'm looking at in the 3D that are challenging to me right now. And how do you speak to that? And the thing is that because we are creator beings, because we are source in form, because source is truly the truth of who we are. Our alignment with source is our truth. And there is, when we are in our hearts, when we are maintaining this frequency, we're embodying spirit into our 3D body temples, literally. And our source part of ourselves is embodying and like reveling. And whenever we feel like that, we are aligned, and source is within our 3D bodies. This is so exceptional because when we're not feeling aligned, when we're feeling off, there's nothing wrong with that. Because the thing is, we have tools that we can utilize that are simple, by just shifting our focus to something that feels a little better, stepping outside and taking a deep breath and looking at that gorgeous bird that just flew by, taking a walk, taking a nice hot bath, just like something that comforts us, something that literally distracts us from whatever is going on that we want to like talk about and share with people, because we're like, God, I want someone to join this because it feels so awful. I want to get some maybe people that agree, maybe they can relate. This is human nature. It's nothing wrong with that. But when we can go, you know what, do I really want to continue this, or do I want to empower myself to create something where I feel better? And my guess is most every single one of us really just want to feel good.
Yeah.
We want to feel alive and inspired. And so when we are dealing with these things, begin doing some of these very simple things you and I have been talking about. The invitation, people, it's too easy. It's got to be more difficult than that to get back into living a joyous life. And the truth is, no, it's not.
No, our innate nature is joy, is abundance, is
Absolutely.
vitality, right? Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's,
Absolutely.
again, what are we focusing on?
Yep.
And it's the mind, it's the landscape of the mind that wants to rehash, that wants to be right, that wants to feel justified or feel protected or feel, in some way,
Yeah.
and or find a sense of relief, when the truth is that we can relieve ourselves. We don't have to perpetuate it by spewing it onto someone else and involving and literally growing it and exchanging it to and projecting that, like, it's like you're carrying it, you can transmute it yourself. One of my favorite things to do is put on silly kitty videos, or when when pets are doing things. Or there's this program called Unlikely Friendships, and it's about animals that befriend each other, and they're like usually species that wouldn't get along, but it's like there are lots of things, lots of ways, like you said, take a walk, go grounding, but we can do this ourselves. That's the point, right?
That's it.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, when we're relying on someone or some event to make us feel better, we'll never get there from that place.
It's a true
Get there
sense
meaning, feeling good, because we might have a momentary feeling of, but to sustain that is key.
Yeah.
And if we are relying on our outside, we'll never, ever get there, or a relationship or someone to behave a certain way to make us feel good or make us feel whole or make us feel happy. And honestly, it is about being sovereign, meaning that, like you just described, that's sovereign. When you're like, I know that I have these tools, and if I can love myself enough, when I can love myself enough to say, okay, I want to feel good. I deserve to feel good. I'm worthy beyond measure. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to implement these simple things and see how your life begins to change. When we act as if, when we actually when we're feeling good in our heart, because if we do this exercise when we're not in our hearts, it actually backlashes on us because of the law of attraction. But when we can get ourselves into a good feeling space, and we can actually act as if it's happening, like as if whatever we're desiring, we see it, we visualize it, we feel it as if it's already happening right now. The law of attraction does not know the difference, whether that has manifested or not. It only knows our vibrational countenance and our vibrational offering. And it will every single time, no exception, bring us a match to what we're putting out.
Girl, Joe Dispenza. Boom. This is like, I learned this from Joe Dispenza. Yeah. And the law of attraction doesn't know the difference. And our avatars don't know the difference.
Exactly.
So why are we making the difference up in our minds? Right? Like, why are we creating that hurdle? It's like, no. And it is it's about interdependence and knowing your strengths, knowing your power, knowing and just practicing it. Once you practice it, life actually becomes much easier to navigate because you don't have to go external. And when you know you don't have to go external, that it's all here, that's that sovereignty that creates that illuminated state.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
For practical application. And I love that. And I try to tell people one thing is, think about, remind yourself that just before you got triggered, whenever you feel triggered or whenever you feel that shift, when you notice it, whenever it is that you do notice that, whoa, I'm shifted out of that joy, right? And I'm experiencing this, some sort of distortion or level of resistance. Let's just ballpark it. What I ask my clients to do is remind yourself that 10 seconds ago or 10 minutes ago, you weren't in that state. Like it wasn't until something external or a thought from the internal arose that was opposing that innate state, right? And if you just remind yourself, wait a minute, like that, I was there 2 seconds ago. Why am I giving power to that? And it's because of the element of focus that you spoke of before. So it's all about this consciousness and getting the reins on this consciousness factor of where we focus. And there we go. We can go right back. Oh, but 2 seconds ago, I don't care if I broke my leg right now. Yes, my body would be in pain, but 2 seconds ago, I was in an awesome state. So even something physically, impactful like that, you can still, and your body will heal faster. And the whole experience will be more easy, if you remain And I've actually experienced profound spontaneous healing, like rapid healing because
Yes.
of that, right? Like
Yes.
literally because of that, I have
Yep.
overcome things that doctors say are impossible. And
Yep.
I'm like, it's not impossible, right?
Oh
It's
no.
improbable in your paradigm, but not mine, babes, you know? Right?
Right. And what we're speaking of in this is beliefs. Because when we have a belief, right, because a belief is simply a thought that we think again and again and again. And when we think something, then we're attracting that in, which actually goes, see, it happened, it's true. But actually, we drew that in and we've created it because of our beliefs. Does you know what I mean? So if you believe that you can, when we stay in a state of feeling good, or even just breathing and being present for physicality, maybe something's happened, an injury, or maybe we have an illness or imbalance that we're experiencing. If we can do what you just said, just stay in that place of really calm and nothing serious going on, just gentleness and easeful and kind to the self. And, just because when we have a thought and we think, oh, then that actually triggers a response in the body. And, it's the fear. And so the body resists, it contracts, and then that actually perpetuates pain.
Yeah.
So when we can breathe and move ourselves into the parasympathetic, we can think of a parachute,
Yeah.
letting us come down easily with the parasympathetic is rest, relax, calm. This is really our natural state. And this is our state where we're receptive to, like you said, spontaneous healings, rapid healing, because it's beyond the genes. It's actually beyond the circumstance. Where actually our cells know how to innately respond to what they know is health and vibrancy, no matter what's happening on the 3D level. So when we can sustain this, we can actually have these maybe spontaneous healing, maybe just more rapid healing, diagnosis, but I'm going to stay in the parasympathetic. I'm just going to focus on the things that I would desire from this. I'm not going to focus on what the doctor said. That's not what I'm creating. I don't choose to create more of that. I choose to empower myself and deliberately work with these laws that actually support me in getting back in alignment, the codes of the white, in alignment, in that balance, in the alchemization of any beliefs. And it's not about fixing or anything like that around these beliefs. It's just when we're in the state of feeling good and in our hearts, guess what happens to those beliefs that aren't in alignment with the highest? They fall away.
Yep.
On their own, they dissolve.
It's all about trust for me. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I when we are in a state of trust, we can't
Mm-hmm.
we can't also be in a state of fear. So
Oh, they're different
right.
vibrational
So
frequencies.
I'm like, I
Mhm.
choose trust. I choose
Yeah,
trust. Like I don't need to know the how. That's for the
yeah.
universe to make this juicy path along the way, right? Right? Like the how's not my job. I
Yeah.
My job is to trust that
Mhm.
things are happening for me, not to me. Right. And
Absolutely.
if I can be
Yes.
creative enough and playful enough and curious enough, which is all heart-centered, then I will be the discoverer of what
Mhm.
I'm meant to see. Like, and I have to trust that. So, that feels so much better. Trust feels so much better. Right. And then when things happen that validate that, it's so much easier to keep that vibration of trust. And it's just
Yes.
like, it's like, no, I'll choose trust any day, all day long. And that's my story. It's like things are happening for us. And if we stick to
Mhm.
that, then it challenges us to see beyond the obstacle and transform that obstacle into an opportunity. That's our evolution. That's how we, begin to really realize all that we are and what we're capable of. Now, something that I am fascinated about you is this connection with the white light, the 1111, and the whales and the dolphins. And I would love for you to share a little bit about being that conduit, right? Because I do believe we're all sacred conduits of some form of love light. Being that conduit, and how did you nurture that conduit? How did you, come to know you were that conduit? And what brought you into doing what it is that you do in life? Like, can you share more about that? Because I think it's so important for people to start being curious about that, about their version of that.
Absolutely. I just reached over and grabbed this, which I have sitting next to me here. This is, can you see that? That's a fossilized whale's eardrum.
What?
Yes. Look at that. It looks just like an ear, right?
Yeah. Fascinating.
So this beautiful, yes, it symbolizes a lot. And so I just wanted to show this because I was gifted this on 11/11/11 in Mount Shasta. I hadn't, yeah. So I'm going to back up because this actually tells a little bit of what you asked. And so this will share a little bit. So it was about a month, maybe 5 weeks or 11/11/11. And I had a dream. And I was literally like flying in my dream. It was so much fun. I was flying up on the treetops and the trees were gently blowing in the wind. And I was hearing this song. And it was these voices that sounded very angelic. It was Telos, Telos. And it was just like, oh my God, what is this? And that's all these voices said was Telos. So I woke up and I happened to have like a pad and pen next to my bed in the dark without turning the light on. I just wrote the word Telos so I'd remember. And I woke up the next morning, saw my pad of paper, went straight to the computer, and I typed in Telos. Up popped Mount Shasta, up popped an image of a Dhamma. So if any of you are familiar with the Telosians, who are the Lemurians, who actually reside energetically in a fifth dimensional city in Mount Shasta, the volcano of Mount Shasta. And they are energetic beings who are supporting us, just like the whales and just like all the beautiful unseens. These are one divine expression that are actually supporting humanity in our awakening. And so basically, I just felt family the second I started reading. I'm like, oh my God, this is family. And so I ended up going to sleep that night and had a dream of this woman showing up in front of me. And she said, put your hands on my hips. And so I reached over, and the moment she then put her hands on mine. And once I felt that contact, our bodies morphed to the side, and it was like a blip. And she said, I'm taking you into Telos. And Telos, again, Dhamma is the high priest of Telos. The Telosians are these beautiful beings who are helping us to actually come into the state of balance, to come into our hearts, to help us remember who we really are and our connection to the divine. It's that simple. And they're all about love. So I don't remember what occurred from that, but I do remember her face. So that next morning, back on the computer, started looking at Telos and Mount Shasta, doing some more research. Up pops this woman's picture on there. The same woman in my dream. Her name's Aurelia Louise Jones. And she channeled all the Telosian books and channeled Adama. She has volumes of books. And she was the one who came to me that night previous and brought me into Talos. I'm getting chills as I'm sharing this. And so long story short, because this is quite a story, but you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. And then I started getting information. I heard bring a group, because I lead retreats all over the world. So I thought my spirit was saying, go ahead and lead a retreat in Mount Shasta, but they were saying, do not charge. We will give you the names. And I got 18 or 17 names. I invited everyone and every single person came. We were to go during the 11/11, and Adama told me that we would be going into Talos. So brought the group, and here we were at 11/11. There's this gorgeous being, Nan, and her husband, who are grid keepers right below the mountain of Mount Shasta. This is where they live. And they had hundreds of crystals that they invited our group to come. We could purchase them if we wanted. So we had a great time. We were leaving. Nan comes over and she literally places this in my hand and covers her hand. And she said, she didn't know who I was. I'd never met her before. She knew nothing about me. She said, this is a gift for you from the ancient whale beings. They're calling you deeper into your path, and they're asking you to listen to their messages even deeper. And so this is literally a line of communication that is so profound to the ancient whale beings. These beautiful whales have been coming to me since I was about 5 years old in my dreams. They come forehead to forehead to me, exchange information, then they'll turn their head and come eye to eye up to my eye. And so this was gifted to me on 11/11/11. And so I guess the whole idea around, you know, the codes of the white, the whales, the divine union, they all interweave together. And I have multiple experiences that were very, very profound, like this, you know, and what's come from this, because through this beautiful telephone, we could say, with the whales, my husband and I actually saw a beautiful, we were called to Ojo de Liebre in Baja, Mexico to go to the lagoons where the gray whales come. And we went, and this beautiful baby, pure white albino whale, shows up next to our boat. And I was sitting there before she showed up, holding this, saying, we're going home. We've been here a week. And I was shown that they'd come up and exchange the codes of creation with us. And they hadn't. And we were heading back to California, but we stopped at this location, and it was a divine appointment. This beautiful being's name is Camille. She's a precious, powerful ancient whale being. And she's been communicating with me very intimately ever since. I was sharing with Carlotta about this, because what just occurred is she actually showed up to us on the Shiva Ratri. It happens once a year. You can kind of look up the definition. It's all about the codes of the white. It's about 11/11 codes. It's about the divine union. It's about coming into balance, into our hearts, all of this. So we end up, I hear 5 months ago, you know, go ahead and from Camille, bring a group to Magdalena Bay, Magdalene, the divine feminine essence. This is an ignition for humanity to remember to come into the feminine aspect of ourselves, even though we may not be in gender form of a female. It doesn't matter. We all hold the feminine, masculine, and it's about balancing those so we can be aligned to the truth of who we are. So she said, this is about discovering true self-love, and it's in through the heart. The name of the retreat was Heart Song. So I channeled, brought in all this. I'm like, okay, I'm bringing a group, and ended up 14 of us went over the Shivaratri. She said, Magdalena Bay, Shivaratri, bring a group. I did. Never been there before. Different location that I had seen her with my husband 5 years before. We show up the day before the Shivaratri. We go out on a boat to see the gray whales. And beautiful Camille shows up in form. Full grown. I mean, oh my God. Like, honestly, I was beyond, I can't even tell you, I was bawling because it was so profound. And I knew there was an absolute ignition. The codes for all of humanity tied to the white buffalo calf woman prophecy, tied to the white rainbows. Remember, we talked about that? Mm-hmm. She was igniting those codes. And she came up right next to where I was. I reached down, I could almost touch her. She stayed with the boat with me right here for 10 minutes. It have pictures so, these are some of the things that have been happening. There's multiple, like partial albino dolphins that have shown up to myself and my husband. And then again, another time, white, all albino. These are the beings who are being born, just like the white buffaloes, who are helping us remember who we are, coming back into balance to our relationship with creation, with nature, with ourselves, and with the divine other. And so honestly, that's how it's like these experiences have really led me and have brought me and helped me to integrate these codes. And so this is what I came for. I came to share all of this, and it is through the pathway of joy. That's the key. And through the heart, that's the key. And it's about stabilizing this. And this is what I share and teach and what I support people with. So, you can't, I think you said this, if it wasn't, I'm sorry, but didn't you say we can't make this stuff up?
Yeah.
I say that all the time. You cannot make this stuff up. It just comes to support our divine path mission. And it's leading us and guiding us forward if we take those steps forward. It's amazing. Camille, the next day, it was the Shivaratri, and I woke up to her in my energetic at 5:55 a.m. And she told me this message. It's for all of us, so I feel to share it.
Yeah.
No more shell, she said, like a seashell. No more shell, meaning no more staying in the comfortable and the familiar. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with being in the familiar. But when we're saying no to things that are coming in from our divine source self, that's inviting us forward, and we stay back because we have some apprehension, we have hesitation, we're afraid of what that looks like because it's the unknown. This is what she's saying. It's not about doing that quantum leap. That may be too much of a leap for many and most of us. No, just that little step, just that opening. And this is what she's saying. No more shell, no more shall bind us. We are free. In through the heart is key. And so, it's like this little poetry that she brought through. That we can all understand and we can utilize and integrate and learn from. So the next morning we wake up and we go out on the boats. And Carlotta, I think I mentioned this to you. The day before, no, the 2 days before, when I saw Camille, I was drawing a rainbow. I was saying, Camille, codes of the white rainbow. Camille, codes of the white rainbow. This was just coming through me. And I was just like, sometimes you're just doing and saying whatever you're feeling in that really high vibrational moment. 2 days later, day after Shivaratri, my group went out and a pure white rainbow, huge, showed up over the water, and one end of it was right at the center of our camp, and it came out into the water. It was profound. Again, I have pictures. So this is what happens when we say yes and we trust, like you said, trust and show up and take that step. We're all being invited to take that next little step. It can just be a little step, but it's leading us to our dreams. It's leading us to the truth of who we are.
I love it. I love it. Woo, girl. Okay.
Okay.
I think that's beautiful, and it's just uplifting and encouraging all of us to listen and to trust and to move into that, to lean into it,
Yes.
and to just be open, right? And to like no more shell, meaning there's no need to feel like you have to protect yourself, like you are always protected.
Yes.
Yeah, you
And we
are.
don't need to hide
We
in
don't
our
need to
shell.
play small. Like this is
Yeah.
not the time to play small, people. Like this is the time to rise, and we do that together, and we do that in celebration, and
Aww.
I love that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
This is that part where we get to see a little bit more of your beautiful organic self.
Aw. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Is this the numbers?
Yeah. So pick a number,
Okay.
any number.
Pick
Yeah.
any number. 22.
22. Okay, interesting. Fortitude.
Fortitude. Wow. Well, to me, fortitude feels like, it's interesting when I hear that word, I really don't get a lot. It's kind of like, it feels like maybe just keep on taking that next step and that next step and that next step. Fortitude, just to keep focused, keep movement forward, not to give up, to be able to really find that place of peace within ourselves as often as possible, so we can access those places that are really our truth, that feel so authentic to who we are. And then we can keep on going. Okay, I had to take a little step and pause, and that's okay, but I have that fortitude to keep on going. So that's what's coming to me when I hear
love
that
it.
word.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay.
Mm.
Next number.
Okay. 11.
11, neutrality.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So for me, the moment I heard the word neutrality, it's about finding the neutral place within ourselves when things are going on outside of us. Maybe people are saying certain things that don't resonate. Maybe we're witnessing things happening in the world that look chaotic and look just not fun. Maybe we have a emotional trigger, and we will normally react, and yet when I hear the word neutrality, it feels like a really strong invitation to take that breath. And in that breath, it reminds ourselves in that moment when any of those scenarios I just spoke of might come up, we take a breath to come back to neutrality. We come back to the 0 point, which is our heart.
Yes.
We come back to the whale's eye, which is neutrality, and it's in through the heart that they bring us, through the eye of the needle. So this is the neutrality. And it's honestly, it's like in that moment of pausing, we find that place of neutrality where we're doing our best not to judge. We're doing our best not to have a projection onto someone, but just to allow.
Love
Okay,
it.
I just had a trigger. Let me take a breath and allow what's occurring. I don't need to try to fix it. Let me just breathe. And I can move in neutrality when I know and I can trust that this is giving me information to know where my alignment is. When I don't feel good, I know it's just information. Nothing serious going on. Just bring it back to here. Take some breaths. Boom, I'm back into my neutrality, into my alignment. So again, with anything going on, even our world events, neutrality. So that's what I feel when you bring that up.
When you say that, when you say it, I feel, and when you share it like that, I feel like it is a essence of a place of peace.
Yes,
So thank you for
absolutely.
that. Thank you for that. Because sometimes
Mhm.
neutrality, when you know what I mean, like it's like, well, I won't take either side. I'm Switzerland, but the way you shared it, I really felt that it comes like the deeper underlying essence of neutrality is actually peacefulness.
Yes,
So that's
it's freedom.
it's freedom. It's
It's
peace.
freedom.
Yeah, love it, girl. Love it. Woo! Okay, last one.
Okay, let's see. 44.
44. That would be,
Actually, do you have a 444?
no, they're just double
Okay,
digits. But
because today's
44.
a 444, today's
Yes.
date. And that is birth. That was the time I was born. So I'm like, wait. But
Oh, oh,
anyway,
you were born in 444. Wow.
yeah.
So we will do 44, which is resonance.
Oh. Well, all these things just pop. Totally heart, because when we're in heart resonance, this is, again, we are actually the dominating, and I don't necessarily like that word, but it's a good descriptor right now to convey what I'm sharing. So it's a dominant vibration. That actually, when we step into a room and we are in heart resonance, that is the dominant vibration. And what happens is everyone that is in that space, because we're vibrational beings living in a vibrational universe, and our vibrational output, anyone who is in heart resonance is aligned to source. That is the highest frequency we can be in. So when we step into a room, then everyone, actually, their vibration shifts to meet it. If it doesn't, they will step out of the room.
It's like you're
And
giving them access to that.
yes,
You're bringing, that's what you're bringing to the party.
yeah.
Oh,
And then it's heart resonance with everyone. So heart, and also my husband and I, we, the name of our company through the crystal beds that my husband creates, it's quantum resonance. So when
oh,
you said the word resonance, I'm like, oh, resonance. Yeah,
oh.
quantum resonance. That popped in as well. So I'm working in the quantum, being resonant to the universal energies and working with, the universal laws. So that's what comes up when I hear that word.
So juicy. I love it. I love
It's
it.
fun to play.
Yeah. Yeah. And just have that, like, oh, right, like bring ourselves back into those. I mean, those were calling you, so those were for us to dance in a little bit right there.
Aw,
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah. Do you have anything coming up, anything that you where people who resonate with all that you share and all that you are, that might be curious to reach out to you or participate in something that you're offering? What's happening? What's going on? What's coming up where people can, tap in?
Well, actually, I am super duper excited. I have 3 more retreats that I'm actually facilitating this year. And they're always divinely, I get the download of where and when. So they're not just, oh, I think no, I get, very aligned messages to like, okay, this location at this time. And then I allow, just be in that place of openness of like, who is being called, who is actually vibrating at, that frequency that is feeling a yes. And then there's always powerful experiences, always. So I have it's called Dancing with the Divine, the Call to Union, which is here in Mount Shasta. And it's on a very, very sacred land that holds the red and white minerals, which are these natural waters that run through. And there's like, oh my God, I mean, it is honestly so divine. I've led retreats here before. It is profound. These waters are very healing waters. They're only found on one other portion of the planet, and it's in Glastonbury at the Chalice Well. The red and the white minerals are actually representing the divine union, the sacred union, and they help us to come into that balance so we can actually have that union with the beloved, the true beloved, our higher self. Now, this actually is threefold, because every one of us, my guess is we can all really just nurture that connection with the divine within ourselves. So this relationship is key. And so this totally supports that. In addition, it's also people that are looking to call in the beloved. And so as we come in, then it magnetizes the one for you that is aligned, that divine union. If you're in relationship, it will actually deepen and nurture and nourish and allow the deepening of that relationship. So the Telosians have actually guided me for years, and this is a culmination of everything. We're going to be going to a Divine Union temple site that is right by my husband and I's physical home, actually. And receive these beautiful energies and codes. We have many sacred spots we're going to be going to in Mount Shasta and receive these codes. And the Telosians have asked that I actually bring the group into a guided meditation to lead a journey into Telos. And yeah, just so much amazingness that is hard to actually convey through words. It's 222 right now. Maybe that's the words. It's so 222 represents basically all the seeds that you've been planting are beginning to sprout. Don't give up before the miracle occurs. And that's just come in right now as I'm sharing this. So yeah, so that's going to be June 16th through the 22nd over the solstice.
Okay, wow, nice.
Yeah, and my website that you can actually go on and look at some of the details. I'm going to put more information. You can actually reach out and contact me too. I'm happy to have a conversation, and just give details, because I'm actually working on that landing page right now. But it is joyful-journeys.com is my website, and you can go on and click the menu under the specific retreat. So awesome. The next retreat is called Rise. You mentioned Rise. It is about the rising of each one of us, awakening the inner goddess. And this is in Isla Mujeres, which means the Isle of Women. And it is, oh my gosh, the goddess Ishel is divine feminine essence that the Mayans have revered and honored. And we're going to be there during that time that they honor this beautiful goddess. And it's about birthing ourselves, the highest version of ourselves, awakening that amazing Shakti within us that makes us feel alive and vibrant and creative. So we're going to this remote island and we have a beautiful villa there, and we're going to be doing many amazing things to tune in with this energy to support ourselves and Tulum and the cenotes and all of this. So this is August 22nd through the 28th, all this year, 2022. And, if you want to reach me directly, you can go through my website and just do a little contact and I'll respond. The last and final for this year is called the Kachina Woman Sedona Retreat. And it's November 7th through the 13th. It's going to be over the frosty blood full lunar eclipse. Full moon, and that's on the 8th, and the 11/11/22, which is an 11/11/11/11.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking huge energy. So yeah, I have a full details on this already actively on my website. Everything's on there for this retreat, so you can take a look at all the details there. So there we go. I do one-on-one coaching. I'm a doula. I really help people birth the highest version of themselves and how to actually empower themselves to actualize this dream life that they've held in their hearts. So yeah, it's just fun.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting those in, and thank you for being such a just magnificent conduit, and for following your heart, for following the call, for stepping into this state of service, because we all know how I don't know how vague it can be at times, and I personally know how much trust it takes. And how much willingness to dive deep into the unseen. And it takes so much courageous spirit to answer this level of service and call. And I just personally want to thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for making time today. You were just so sweet to just be readily available, and I love that. I love the spontaneity in you, and it just shows that you're literally in the moment, that you're present, and that honestly, you know how rare that is. So I thank you. I celebrate you. I feel honored to be in acquaintance with you, and I look forward to collaborating and co-creating. I really feel that there's something super juicy in there.
I do too. I felt it from the beginning of that conversation we had. Wow. So yes, my beloved sister, thank you. I'm honored, honestly, to be here and just to play in this energy together and share together. Thank you.
I look forward to what is in bloom state for us. And I know that the fruits of the labor will all go towards the greater good. And that's where our hearts are centered. So until we meet again, mwah, mwah.
Mwah. All right, sweetheart. Blessings. So much love.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mwah.
Mwah.